Welcome back to the Psycho Restoration. Back into it today. Been steadily cleaning up inside the engine bay, cleaning up all the welds, getting the rest of the pieces fitting in there. Probably the biggest step now will be the headlight upgrade. So you can see I've made some brackets for the headlights to sit on. The purpose of that is to get rid of the two bolt holes that hold the top of the headlight. So a bit early stages on this one, but that's an idea of how it's going to look. So that'll be sheet metal as well, and it'll all be obviously welded in, so it'll all be smooth all the way around to the top of the light. It'll just be a nice lip that sits flush with the glass and then meets up to the guard, so no bolts holding the headlights in. It'll still have two that mount to the bottom underneath, but the top ones will be gone. So as you can see by the headlight here, that whole top strip will get cut off. We'll have to remove that and just put a flat cover over it to clear it. But it'll basically run along nice and follow the shape of the headlight and meet into the bumper. So all going well, there'll be no gaps, and obviously all painted to match. So the other big thing that I'm doing is the top of the airbag strut plates, which usually bolt in. I've managed to press the bearing out, which is just held in by a circlip. So the two plates for the airbags will now be welded in, so that will also get rid of the bolts that would be in the top of the struts, which I've done on my Calais, and it's really going to annoy me if I've got to leave that lip there and have more bolts in. So obviously it's never going to be changed for airbags again, so it is what it is, but if it's ever going to come out, we'll worry about that one day. It's not going to be driven, so I don't think that'll be the biggest of issues. Been busy cleaning up in the corners to make sure that the rear plates for the firewall can be welded in. Made up the little inserts to continue that shape through. The back ones are welded in. Been cleaning that up. Not really sure exactly how I'm going to do this yet, but that'll curve in and meet the firewall, so it'll be nice, smooth transition. Obviously all welded along the side, and then all welded in there. The other concern I have at the moment for symmetry is this piece is actually flattened for where the bracket is for the booster. I really don't want to leave it like that, but it doesn't match the other side, which is nice and curved. And then it's also got a huge big notch in the back, which I have sort of given a tap with a decent sized hammer and it hasn't really moved. So I think we're probably going to take to it with the oxy. I'll heat it up and try and tap it into shape. It's really going to annoy me if it's not symmetrical. We've come this far that everything else is pretty much perfectly matching from side to side. So the only one that's really has no option but to be different is the steering column. So today's project is to get the K-frame back in with the steering rack and get this sitting in where it's got to be for clearance. And then I need to make as much clearance as I can through there for it to come out, because the uni doesn't come off. So to take the column out, I still need to have an access hole for the shaft to slide back through. So once that's in, and provided that's generally flush with the edge of the rail, with the engine in there, you can't really see that anyway. So for argument's sake, from the top, it's really going to look the same anyway. Just this side will be obviously squared off. I don't want to make this side match that side. I just want to make that steering column go away. So I certainly don't want to leave it like that. So that's where we're up to with that one. Been cleaning up around where the intercooler pipes come through, radiator. We've still got a lot to do, a lot of welding. The last thing I'm doing today is welding in the nuts for the control arms on the K-frame. So I've unpicked the bottom plate. I want to make a new plate for that, which just has one single hole in the center. I'm going to machine up a nylon bush that fits on the jack so that it locates on that for jacking the vehicle up, and hopefully it won't crack the paint. So obviously it's going to be jacked up a lot for shows, so it needs something that's functional without damaging anything. So I don't like having this big open space here. It's really going to do my head in. So because the bolts usually go in the other way, but I'm going to weld the nuts on, so the bolt will still come out the back, and then these plates will weld in over the top of that. So just cleans that up a lot from the side, or from underneath. So all these holes will be welded up. That one needs to stay because it's the bolt for the K-frame to bolt to the bottom of the rail. Undecided whether we're going to leave the tow hook holes yet. They're really not much good. I can't tow it with the low bumper anyway, so I dare say we'll probably cut them off and make that flush, but haven't decided on that one yet. But yeah, so that's the K-frame update and the engine bay update, and I'll keep going. Made some good progress today. K-frame, I've now made the bottom plate and welded that in. So got rid of the original piece and it's all nice and smooth now. But aside from one hole, which I'm going to make a bush that's bigger than the hole, so that locates in the jack, so it can't slip off and doesn't go through the sump. Hopefully doesn't damage any paint jacking it up. Made decision to cut the lower ears off the bottom of the K-frame. We're not going to be towing it by those. They're probably 4 inches above the bumper anyway, so unless you take the front bar off, they're absolutely useless. And if you tried to use them, they're probably going to scratch the paint and show car. So if we ever got to tow it, we'll figure that out another day. But I'm going to leave the hoops on the bottom of the rails, so they'll still be there. But yeah, if we could, still got to take the bar off to use those as well, I think. So got the rear corners of the firewall, they're tacked in place. Made sure the gaps are bang on for those. Centerpiece is just screwed in there for the moment. Had the steering column in and out, so made clearance through there, so it will, the uni on the steering column will come out. So when you look from the front with the engine in there, you're not really going to see that at all, which will be one of my pet hates on other bays where the steering column's still visible. So hopefully that goes away completely. We'll put a piece in that corner just to mimic the shape of that, just so they look the same. The side pieces are nearly ready for tacking in place. I've still got a bit of clean up to do there. Work out what we're going to do in the back corners to clean them up. The two little gusset pieces that flow through to the firewall are in there ready to weld in place as well. And the two corner pieces that finish off the firewall, well, to the tunnel, they're ready to weld in. Just got a little bit of tweaking to do on those. Other than that, I think that's about it for today. So coming along nicely, still a long way to go, but I'll put the K-frame and the front wheels back on it to put it back on the stands so that I can do some more welding. I don't want to weld unless it's on its wheels, so that'll be the next step, get that done, and then finish cleaning up for the side plates so that they're tacked. So everything will be tacked in place, and then hopefully Nathan can come out and weld it all for me. He's a fabricator, I'm not, so if he welds it, it's a lot less clean up for me to do. As you can see, it makes it a lot neater. So if I can get him to do it, then it saves me stuffing it up and spending hours trying to clean it up. Got the diff partly smoothed out, edge primed. Not going too crazy on it. Just got rid of the bump stop mounts, got rid of the old chrome that was really bad. I was going to prime it up that I couldn't smooth it out a bit. K-frames all nicely smoothed out underneath, well roughed in with some metal block. So I'll prime that as well, and then I can start cleaning up all the little corners and stuff. A primer to come. So today's project is getting the pod filter mounted. Now, while it's not exactly subtle, it does fit in there really well. So it tucks in behind the bumper nicely. Obviously it's going to be pulling nothing but cold air from behind the bar. Fits in behind the power steering pump and intercooler. Just gets it up right out of the way. So all I've got to do now is work out where my pipe's going to the blower itself and put a round hole there. Probably won't put a clamp on it, we'll just push a silicone hose onto it. I don't think dust is really going to be an issue with this, and I don't want another ugly clamp in the bay. So once I get the engine back in, I can make that up. So that's currently just sitting on there. So oval hole obviously for the filter, and then we'll just have a round hole that'll be a piece of pipe welded on the inside of the bay. So it'll have to do nothing but pull the air through there. So yeah, just got to get that piece finished up and then it's ready to weld. Everything else is pretty much ready to weld in here, so keep chipping away, fitting pieces up, making sure everything clears, and keep progressing. So I got the K-frame back in, wheels under it, back on stands. So everything is as is when the engine goes in. So if anything moves, it should stay where it should be. So when I gap it up later on, it doesn't change from what it should be. Busy few weeks welding slowly. I've got the inners now all fully welded in. The front pieces behind the headlights are fully welded in. Rails are capped. The side pieces on the firewall are both welded in. Middle section isn't yet, that's next. I just trial fitted the column again to make sure it clears my plates, so just tack them in there for the moment. So that goes in nicely. Welded all the way around the back, behind the strut towers, the back corners, so they're all nice and smoothed in. Don't mind my terrible welding. Try and tack it in so that nothing moves has been quite the process. Cleaned up the inner guards so they can be prepped for bog. Probably next step will be to do the headlight pieces, so they'll be welded in. I just want to throw the bonnet on, gap everything up, make sure that's perfect. I don't really want to guess that, so once that's done, try and give everything a really good clean, and then I will panel bond over all of the welds, all the joins, so if there is any pinholes, it's not going to matter. It shouldn't bleed through and blister up. Obviously adds a bit of strength to it as well. Once the panel bond's done and prepped, then I shall epoxy the whole engine bay, and then I can start bogging it up. So getting a lot closer, but yeah, still a fair ways to go. So this week's progress has been fitting up to check gaps on everything since I've been welding. So got the guard gap perfectly, both sides, threw the bonnet back on just to check the gaps. Hello. So bonnet back on, gaps down both sides, perfect. Threw the bar on, it's just bolted up, it's kind of just sitting there. Everything lines up nice and neat. We've got a bit of a gap to the headlight, but can't do much about that. Just the way the bar is. Anyway, so the next steps, chop the front of the bar. So there's a gap where it sits to the support. Don't like that. I don't like the way they mount to the support. So the pieces that I've made for the top of the headlights, where they get welded on and tucked under the bar, I'm going to bolt the bar from the top. So there'll be one bolt that side, and that'll be it. So all the top piece here I'm going to cut off, smooth it in, obviously smooth the support as well. So all that'll all blend through nicely. Possibly glass in a bit more of the corner of the bar so they match, because they are different for whatever reason, the way it's been made. So tidy that up. Can finish off the corners in here somehow, whether or not I extend the guard or extend the top of the support. Haven't really decided yet. Thinking support. They're all going to be painted black, so it won't really matter too much, but just looks a bit weird having a hole there now when everything's all so smooth and fitted up. So we've got the steering rack back in, so that's finalised now. That comes through the hole. I think that's probably about it for now. So we'll get stuck into the support today. Get the guards back off now. I know that where they go is the right spot, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. Nothing's moved, so that's promising. So yeah, we'll keep going. Had a good weekend's progress. Got the top of the covers for the headlights all welded up. Still got a few holes and stuff to fill up to clean up, but they're pretty much permanent now. So gaps are pretty good to the headlights. I've got to tweak them just a little bit, but they're not too bad. Headlights still come out, that's the main thing. All the holes in the support, I've got rid of the two little crowns here. Not sure why they're even there. Welded in the catch. I'm determined to get rid of this spring. I've got a bit of an idea to try and do that. I reckon it'll work, so hopefully I can get rid of those two holes. The switch for the bonnet for the alarm will go. Just got to cut a piece to fill that in. Chop the bar up and glassed in the two corners. So that's all now nice and even. So there's now no gaps down the side. Usually they've got a massive gap through there. Don't want to see that. So that's fixed. And that's about it for the weekend. Bonnet release rod is now hidden as well. Still got the factory piece in there. Still hooked up to the original cable. Remounted, hole's gone. you can figure that one out, good luck.
All right, well, welcome back. So we have the prognosis on the engine, not so good. So even though it's got 4,000 Ks, engine builders pulled it down and found lots of things that are not very good on it. So first thing it did was leak down test. All the ring seals are shot. So it's got excessive bore clearance. So obviously everything's with heat, it's expanded. The compression test supposed to be 130 PSI in the cylinders, and one of them's got 100. So that's certainly not brilliant. One head, all the valve guides are leaking. Other side I'm not so sure on, but the one side is definitely leaking, so all the valve guides are obviously stuffed. Mainly due to being lean and hot, so everything shows signs of it being overheated, which we're guessing, well, my guess is because it's been to shows a lot with Jamie with the stereo, probably have flat batteries and left it idling for long periods of time to try and keep everything running. Add to that the supercharger kit. I don't believe the tune was ever done in real time on the car. The fuel system doesn't seem to be quite adequate for what should have been in there, to me. So I think of multiple reasons it's probably shortened the life of that engine a lot. The balancer is stuffed. The head gaskets on number 5 and 8 were leaking. The head bolts, the standard head bolts in, which are obviously going to be no good for a blown application. So regardless, they were going to have to be changed. The cam is stuffed. It had blocked oil gallery on number 8. So there's marks on the cam. And there's also one of the pistons is cracked. A visible hairline fracture. The rest of them may be cracked. I don't know. The engine builder was sending everything off to the machinist to get everything checked. I didn't get a report back on that yet. The clutch is stuffed. All the springs are softened obviously from age and being sitting for so long. So yeah, new engine is now on the cards. The flywheel's good, so that's promising. That'll get faced. The block's good. And put a new oil pump in it. So currently the plan is to go 355. It'll be built for boost, which seems logical. So it'll have a lumpy cam in it, and a steel crank. So the biggest one with being blown is that the cast crank, even if we could fix it, had marks on it. It's probably not going to last. So logical to put a steel crank in it. Not exactly going to go chasing heaps of horsepower, but it should be capable of making 500 horsepower at the wheels, which is never ever going to use, but should be more than enough for what we're doing. So all the quoting's done on that. So the machinist's got everything to start on that. So not sure what the time frame is to get it built, but it's not an issue at the moment. We don't need the engine, but yeah, it'll get built properly. It'll be run on the dyno, so it'll be running before I even get it. So shouldn't have any issues with trying to get oil pressure and everything in it once I run it, get it set up. So looking forward to get that back, get it in and get it running, and then work out what other problems we have.
Well, that's us for this episode. As you can see, we've got majority of the welding done in the engine bay. Got the thermo fan mount in there, the bar's on, trying to clean up all those gaps and everything, so we'll keep working on that. And got a few more bits of weld in on there, then I'll weld the strut tops in, get it off the stands and get the rotisserie under there, and then I can start cleaning up underneath, doing some more welding and clean up underneath, get the rest of the interior out. Don't need any of that in there. Ideally we'll get all the doors, everything off it, and then once it's ready for primer and paint, I can take it into work and get all that done, painted back here, and then maybe assemble some stuff, but the majority of it will just be waiting until we get the airbrushing done, and obviously the engine built. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.